This is their first kind of on paper easy opponent in the LCS. Everyone else is a top half team, and you kind of expect that TL should be taking care of business here against Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, their next couple matchups are against Golden Guardians, then they have Immortals and CLG, so as far as strength of schedule, it is getting easier for them. But, you know, despite the fact that they don't have Broxa and they have been playing against hard teams, I don't think we can give them a pass on all of their issues. You know, this is still 4/5 of basically an all-star team in the NALCS. All four of these guys were first team all LCS last split. So you do have high expectations for them. It has not been flawless, and I do think some of that is down to the fact that, you know, they weren't boot camping and everything in the offseason. They haven't, you know, put as much time in, so we are expecting them to ramp up and perform better individually.
Well, Rek'Sai and Lee Sin going to be available for closers. His other two most played junglers after the Jarvan, of course, grabbed right away for Shernfire. And I want to spend a little bit of time contrasting these two junglers, because one of the complaints I have seen from TL players or fans watching the games is that Shernfire doesn't really do a whole lot in the early game, and that is very true. And so the stat I want to bring up is that Closer is the #1 jungler in the LCS in team jungle proximity. He actually spends more than half the time near a teammate in the early game. #1, only player about 50%. Shernfire is second to last. He's actually just farming. Shernfire is second to last in kills and assists at 15. He's third to last in forward percentage. He's actually just in his jungle the whole time, farming, not ganking, and that makes TL's early lanes not be able to do anything because they don't have a jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, that is obviously something difficult, right? You know, he is stepping into a new role in a new league with a new team with incredibly high expectations, and that is going to be tough for him. But I agree, you know, he hasn't had the best performances, and, you know, even we got a stat about Doublelift after week 2 had the lowest jungle proximity of any bot lane in the league, so he had been not getting the help as he may be used to. You know, TL often, historically, has played heavily around bot lane. Senna again, you can see the look on Doublelift's face. TL 0-3 with Senna. And they keep going back to it, and I've got to say I'm so surprised. It just does not seem to fit their playstyle, but it is a pick that is very strong in the meta. A lot of teams are performing with it, so, you know, they are kind of insistent upon playing it, continually going back to it. But we have seen other picks be extremely popular, you know, especially when you're looking at the LCK. Senna's not really played very much at all there. Things like Kalista and Ashe are kind of rising up and taking spots alongside MF and Aphelios, which are obviously not available for TL to grab at that point in the draft, but it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of play around it a little bit differently and finally get a win under their belt with this, because traditionally, you know, this is Doublelift's team, right? TL has always been kind of built around him since he joined it. He was the main damage dealer. He is the guy that needs to be protected and that take over the team fight. Senna's not really that champion. Senna is more utility. It is about cross-map plays with the ultimate, supporting your side lanes, being able to have, you know, all the utility of the Shroud and the heals, and it's like, its pure DPS output is lower than a lot of these other champions.
It is. You look at the other two most common AD carries down there, it's Misfortune and Aphelios. Indeed, Senna's damage per minute, sort of worldwide in pro play, is it's actually only about like 15% lower than MF. I mean, that's still, you know, meaningful, don't get me wrong.
Because it can poke a lot.
Sure, of course. Doublelift's damage per minute is 3/4 of the Senna average worldwide. He's actually not even, by Senna standards, doing much damage. And he's #9 damage per minute in the league, #9 damage per gold in the league here as well. He is not getting his numbers up over time. He's up against FBI, though. He's actually #1 in the league, damage per gold. So this is a matchup where I'm expecting more out of the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, right? Because, you know, when you do see a weakness like this among a team, teams are going to draft for that every single time. They're going to try to push you towards that weakness if that is perceived that way. You know, one of the things that people used to do to TL in the draft in the past is they would, you know, just blindly expect Impact to play tanks, right? So they would pre-counter pick a tank, and then TL would grab the tank anyway, right? It's like they blind GP, he's picking Ornn into it and giving the GP a good matchup, and this is something that can become an issue for TL, so perhaps the reason they're going back to the Senna is to get some wins under their belt with it and prove that, hey, we can play this. You can't just create a whole draft around forcing us to play Senna and expect to get away with it.
Well, what's funny, of course, is there's Senna AD carry nerfs in the next patch. This is the last game TL will ever play on 10.2, and AD carry Senna is going to lose like 2.5% win rate next patch. So I don't even think you need to show off the champion, personally, but look at this. I do like what this is showing up to be, though. It's a very heavy team fight team. They've all got great team fight ultimates. The Galio is in there, the Kennen, Jarvan and Rumble over the top. Like, this Double can just press R once and it's still useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 AoE ultimates, and it's an incredible amount of engage to be able to set up. I do think this is really smart, especially when you're looking over and seeing Misfortune on the other side. Champions that do not have dashes, it's so damn difficult to play safe against J4 plus Galio. You add Rumble and Kennen over top. That gets even more difficult. Senna does assist the dive very effectively, as you're saying.
Yep.
Ulta on top, easy to hit the damage with the Cataclysm pinning someone down, but also the shielding is going to be there for your 4 divers. And this does seem like an intelligent draft. We're going to have to see if Golden Guardians can kind of peel it apart a little bit. You know, a lot of poke going to be available here from the Zoe. And if they can get the proper setup for the MF ultimate, that can be very effective alongside, you know, Aatrox kind of diving in with the Lee Sin. But that being said, it's very difficult to ever kind of get the opportunity to stand and fire with this MF ult against this composition, because Equalizer can be layered over top of you. If you're ever in range of J4 Galio, they are going to be looking for you. So we're going to have to see a really strong game, I think, out of FBI, and perhaps a little bit of side lane play where Aatrox, I think, can take over in the later stages against these types of champions.
And a big thing I have my eyes on as well is FBI's lane mate in Keith, where Thresh has a very different role in this game, where suddenly he needs to be the defensive lantern bot to get someone away from the incredible Jarvan, Rumble, Galio, Kennen, Senna all at once engage tool. So if it's on FBI, that lantern better be behind him already to yank him out of that, or he's instantly dead.
And I do know that this is one of the picks that, you know, while Keith was playing in Korea in solo queue, it was his highest win rate champion that I saw. He had gotten, you know, pretty high in Grandmasters. He had like a 67, 68% win rate on Thresh specifically. So I do think if there's one champion he would be most comfortable at, I would expect it to be this based on the solo queue picks.
As long as he can position himself well, it's not always a hands problem, it's sometimes a brain or just a coordination problem. We heard from their coach in Nero just a couple minutes ago saying that, you know, sometimes we make one call, then we pivot, but Keith's already committed to that first call and he's the one left out to die, and that's not always his fault. So we'll see if coordination will step up here for Golden Guardians, or if Liquid can end the week tied for 3rd place with 3 wins. So get ourselves onto the rift, let's see what happens.
Well, it is looking like we're going to get kind of the new wave build here for Kennen. Something that has been very popular in the LCK is Kennen overall as a pick, but actually Conqueror and Gunblade. You know, to have a tremendous amount of self-healing here, to play more for the laning phase. About a full year ago, that had been somewhat popular, but it was more played like PTA and these types of things. And then that had really fallen out of popularity for the Proto Belt Rush, and that is almost exclusively what we have seen for quite some time at the pro level, but it has kind of swung back once again to this rush towards Gunblade, towards playing for that lane and that side lane dominance. So you have to really track how much impact can get done, because if you're going to go for this build and you don't get a CS advantage, you don't have a pressure advantage, you are just weaker in the team fights without having Proto Belt.
All right, so we'll see what they can do for this one. Impact going down the whole precision tree, get some extra energy on kill and assist as well. Presence of Mind does work on energy champions, so we'll see 250 max energy somewhere at some point here, unless he gets completely shut out. And nothing too spicy happens in the early game. A quick trinket ward that I believe Doublelift spotted, so they know which way they come out. And if Shernfire does a level 2 gank, Shernfire is indeed on his own red buff, and he can only lane gank now if he wants to get anything done on the bottom side. Meanwhile, a bit of a leash coming through for Hauntzer to help Closer go a bit faster. That should help in case there's any kind of weird early game invade path, but Shern is going to go buff to buff, it looks like, and end at Gromp.
Yeah, gonna have to track if he can get involved early on here. It does look like Closer is going to be doing the exact same path. You know, he is going to be doing buff to buff, straight to Gromp.
All right, well, we have Avli standing by with a sideline report. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Freak. I got just a little bit of info coming out from TL's Dodo. Saw the Senna pick being picked up by Doublelift last week. He said that he doesn't believe Senna's a very good champion, or that he just doesn't want to play her. Well, I just got finished speaking with Dodo, and he says that Doublelift is fine with the champion. He likes playing Senna, and he enjoys, and he's not too bad at her in the lane. So that's my tidbit of information for you guys. Do with it what you will.
Doublelift, blink twice if they're making you play Senna, buddy.
He also loved playing Sona last year. His favorite champion, by the way. Really a Sona enthusiast. Owns all the skins. We'll see if he's going to be all smiles after this one.
Yeah?
One thing I will say, Doublelift likes to win. So,
he does.
You know, if they do think it's going to be the strongest pick, they'll play it. Whether you enjoy it or not, you know, isn't always the biggest of deals. But in fact, you know, expected to have push on that top side, and it is going to be Closer looking for the invade here. Remember, so much of that experience is in that big chicken that he just smited away. So Shern will still have that smite, but Closer, early advantage, and you know, Goldenglue has a great spell thief grab there with the Ignite, so that can help to have a little bit more pressure in this 2v2 invade. He has the Ignite.
Nice. Well, Shern spotted, of course, by the Scryer's Bloom. Now Jensen asleep, but gank doesn't come through, able to pretty much play this safely. There's a big wave to farm in the mid lane. Should tie up the farm overall across those two players. Early top lane push expected for impact there, as Hauntzer's on the back foot of the top side. That's what you get for getting counterpicked and the Kennen coming through.
Yeah, generally when you're playing these melee matchups, a lot of it is about knowing exactly how much you need to give over to your opponent, as Jensen will spot Closer coming in here with that ward. And you can't contest every range minion specifically when you are under turret because you're going to take too much harass. And if you get harassed down too early, you have to give up more CS overall. So we will see how Hauntzer does in this early lane. If he can stabilize, generally go down 10 or so CS. And then from there, if you're playing it well, you can kind of slow that down and try to keep the gap at that point.
Top scuttle goes over pretty cleanly to Shernfire. Is going to be first to level 4 in that. And here's the Ignite, the flay, big damage, the flash in. They can take down Double if they're behind him. And now CoreJJ gets some damage with FBI, but has to flash away as well. First blood in the bottom lane 2-on-2 for Keith.
Yeah, Keith and FBI taking down Doublelift and CoreJJ there. Doublelift, no flash, also means he's going to be pretty vulnerable to ganks. The possibility is there for Closer to make a move down to that bottom side now.
I can't be more hyped than like everyone's clowning on Keith, and he's straight up 2-on-2 first bloods Doublelift.
Yeah, he played it really, really well. So let's watch this one more time. Let's see how this started out.
Ooh.
Right as the minion goes down, the hook was already coming out. So Doublelift thought he was safe, thought he was behind that minion. Keith grabs him, and from there, it was pretty much lights out. I do think it was smart to not use that heal. I do believe that was intentional, because from that point, I think the summoner is just going to be wasted. So Doublelift accepts his death. Only positive for TL side is that the first blood went to Keith instead of to FBI.
Sure.
So the itemization, is not as bad as it could be between those two marksmen. It's still a pretty big deal, though. Extra Dorans and extra longsword on top. So expect that bottom lane to be heavily in Golden Guardian's favor for the next couple minutes at least.
Yeah, do you want to point out it was 3 summoners burned for 2, so there is the summoner advantage back in Team Liquid's favor. They get a new gank coming through. Crucially, FBI himself has the flash, but of course Keith does not. We'll see if that comes to matter pretty soon. But a 500 gold difference puts Golden Guardians in the early lead. Most of that, of course, buoyed by the first blood itself. Closer's back down to this lane, but Shernfire's here as well. Spotted by the Trinket Ward, able to kill it himself. And they should know better than to go for anything too aggressive, knowing that Shern is there. If GG plays up, that means they absolutely know that they have a counter gank waiting.
Yeah, and we see Shernfire here. As soon as he gets spotted, he just wants to be in the area long enough to make sure that they can actually push in that wave and reset it, and they have been able to do so. CoreJJ spotting Closer there, who will be backing off now, but Jensen just kind of been a farm lane thus far.
Yep.
The Zoe able to kind of hold this lane pretty equal. You do expect Rumble oftentimes to have the push, but Closer has been pretty active around this mid lane. That is going to make you hesitant to fully commit to a push.
And one point of note, actually, is across the 5 games teams played so far, Goldenglue has had almost identical laning stats to Jensen. Very slightly better performance in CSD gold difference and very slightly lower overall jungle proximity. They've actually been having a pretty good early game there on Goldenglue's side.
Yeah, I mean, I think Goldenglue has been actually quite a successful laner. I think his problem has been in converting the leads when he gets them, right? We've seen multiple games where he's in a great position, but it doesn't always result in a win, and that is not just a Goldenglue thing, it is a team thing. But they need to get to a point where they can take advantages and consistently turn those into objectives, consistently turn those objectives into game wins. Because, it's not as though this has been a team sitting at 1-4 that has just been getting slammed. They've actually had a lot of really close games that have sometimes just barely knocked on their way.
And we'll see if they can convert those a bit later on. Of course, right now we're seeing Shern yet again look towards the bottom lane. A rare bot lane gank for Team Liquid with this jungler. And this could be the play. FBI's going to need a lantern. Gets to walk over to it in time. And Core just could not land the E to stop it. Nicely done by Keith, lanterning out.
Yeah, Shern tried to actually drop the pink ward on that lantern. I do think he was a split second too late. That the lantern had already been grabbed by FBI. So pink ward not very effective in this case, and Shern does actually walk past that pink. I don't think it was spotted. I think he did not walk through that brush, so he may not know that they have vision there. And
a lot of damage. This could be the Q's landing. They're not going to go for the Q into kick flash. Could have been a play, but that's so risky.
Yeah.
You're going to get caught out there if you can do it wrong at all.
I mean, if you take that Q and Jensen flashes back behind his turret and then turns on with the overheat and the ignite, that is someone that can roast a jungler very, very quickly, so you do have to be careful about that. But they are looking for an invade now on this blue buff. They have had vision, they have had some priority from the jungle. Closer is up a level, and it's going to be a nice blue steal there for Golden Guardians.
Really nicely done. 600 gold lead. Easy wave clear pretty much. Level 8 actually first for Goldenglue, of course, with the bonus XP you get from taking the blue, despite dropping 1 CS to his turret. Obviously worth it in all cases there. Impact. Throw him back to the lane, and we check in on top lane, and it's, well, it's actually going to be maybe dangerous. Nah, it's going to push back away. It's going to push back towards Hauntzer without much issue, but still going to be a 10 or so CS difference here.
Yeah, and that's about what's expected. I think both players are playing it, pretty well. It is one of those things where, as Hauntzer, as I said, you're going to have to give up some early CS, but then you should be able to stabilize the lane. Merc Treads is almost always the buy. The tenacity is pretty important here against Kennen. Move speed also a big deal to be able to dodge out a lot of those shurikens. So, farming it out pretty well, and we'll see if Impact can continue to create this pressure, because this is what you need to do when you're investing into what I see as a pretty early game item in that Gunblade compared to the teamfight effectiveness of its counterpart, which is that Proto Belt.
Attempted sleep there, not going to land on that one as Keith grabs the CS and then walks away for the other half of it. Looking over at this top side of the map, yeah, FBI has the most gold in the game. The 200 gold for the assist on First Blood, obviously meaningful, but also a 20 CS lead down to that bottom lane. Now it's a pretty far run, and yeah, with the E, gets out of range. Goldenglue not able to land that poke whatsoever. You can see this team now posting up around this Rift Trail. Of note, neither team actually swapped their AD carry out of the bottom lane for the 8-minute Herald. We're not seeing that play this time.
And you've also got to look at how big the CS advantage is actually now.
Oh, double walks to the right-hand side. Still 2 more autos. Almost going to be enough. The ulti! A big shield. And actually forced the Galio ult down as well. FBI forcing big spells out of Team Liquid. But now, a big play out of Shernfire. A lot of damage on a Goldenglue. He's going to try to run away, but he just does not have the ability to. The flash follow is going to be there. The ult as well. So Goldenglue falls. A great mid-lane gank for Shernfire.
Yeah, really nicely done. But here comes FBI and Keith. They could look for this closers here too.
Play, kick, Q lands, no way out, and Shernfire EQs out back to the opposing turret. Hook's gonna land, give it over to FBI. We almost autoed him, but that is the kill picked up. A trade of 2 for Golden Guardians.
This game has been bot lane difference for Golden Guardians against TL. The best bot lane in the league for the last while, and they are just dominating. Up over 20 CS, the roam then to mid lane. Goldenglue here getting the initial chunk onto Jensen, but Shernfire was right there to respond. And then Goldenglue here, he's not flashing because Shernfire is holding the ultimate.
Yep.
If you flash, you get immediately hit by the Cataclysm and you just waste that summoner. But in comes Keith, in comes FBI, Closer with the kick through the box, the Ignite is up, they finish that kill off, and then Shernfire slowed by that box. Really doesn't have anywhere to go. Maybe could have used the EQ down to try to escape, out through the bottom side, but really just a great roam from the Golden Guardians bottom lane, and that is due to the pressure advantage that they've had down there.
Now look at this one, 1,500 gold lead. Golden Guardians with a really good start, and a lot of that honestly is on the back of Keith. He's landed some very good hooks, but Shernfire showing signs of life as well. The knock is there, a stopwatch burn, but there's really no way he doesn't die. And indeed, the flash doesn't get him away. A nice ult to lock him down. Shernfire sets up another.
Yeah, that seems like just a bit of a frustration use of that flash. When you have made the call in the previous play to not actually flash when J4 still has the ultimate and is right there behind you, then why do it on this one? It does seem like a bit of a wasteful use of that summoner.
Yeah.
So he is going to go down, loses the stopwatch and the summoner. Buys a little bit of time for the squad, though, to get the push on mid lane, so they do get a turret plate there, but TL will get the kill, they will get the dragon, and very likely can get access to a turret plate in bot lane, too.
Pretty nice. There's going to be attempted plays here by Golden Guardians, but nothing going to happen too much. Liquid, up to this point in time, actually had the lowest Drake control in the LCS. A lot of that was, again, as we kind of continue to look at Shernfire and point fingers, the guy wasn't getting ganks off and helping the bot lane shove out. And this time around, finally gets something out of that one and is doing a lot of the good work now for TL. Another attempted play. Closer going to land the Q.
Oh, no.
Lantern in case he wants it. Does. And with the pullback, it's going to kick him right back in as well. Jensen does flash to safety, though, and clears the wave. No spells to land for Goldenglue.
Yeah, I feel like Closer could have actually waited for Keith to hit the initial hook, because when you Q him, it allowed Jensen to create more distance back first. I feel like if you just allow Keith to start out of the sleep with the hook and then kick him back using Closer out of that while he's CC'd, they might have been able to get a kill there, but either way, Jensen is able to escape. They do force the summoner.
A little something, but you can see Team Liquid closing the gap a bit. Only 1,000 gold difference, plus this Ocean Drake is theirs. Mountain Nexus spawned in 4 minutes, and we still haven't... we did see the Herald go down. Sorry, I missed it. It was picked up a while ago by Closer, and we'll see if he can crash it. He has 45 seconds to get to a lane and summon it if he wants that extra gold.
Yeah, they grabbed it during one of the previous replays around that mid lane fight, so he has been sitting on it on some time and may just head straight to mid lane and drop it here. There's only 3 plates left mid lane. I would like to see them get that plate and money.
Another sleep. Nice play by Core. Really plays it one nicely. Big damage and a double lift, though. That Q could have killed him. A nice taunt, nice damage. And there is the summon. Mid lane could be crashed a lot here. Double lift deals a bit with the Q. Ooh. Again, Core steps in front, blocks the skill shot. There's going to be a lot of damage on this turret. Nearly dead before the charge. Last 2 autos will kill it. And mid lane turret, the first to be claimed. Golden Guardian stretches the gold lead.
Again, really nice moves here from Golden Guardians towards mid lane. They have been doing a great job playing around it, moving in, getting some pressure down, dropping the Herald all right before 14 minutes, exactly as you would want to see. They're now over 2,000 gold ahead, and sitting with a very nice advantage. Essence Reaver has been completed for FBI, so he's at quite a strong point in this game. Going to be interested to see if he does go for kind of the heavy AD build right towards an IE second, just using this dagger for the Berserker Greaves. That is a build I'm a very big fan of.
Me too.
You know, I think having the heavy AD for the kind of spell casting part of the kit is very, very valuable. It allows you to get really effective ultimates, and you know, with the amount of attack speed you can actually get from your W, you don't necessarily need to rush towards a Zeal completion.
Take stock of this game once again as Shernfire clears away a couple of wards, but can't get all of them. Checks to see if anything's up from that brush. Nothing is. Chickens respawning the top side of the map, same for the bottom. And we'll see the farm game continue. Right now, though, Closer actually up several camps over Shern. Shern himself, though, of course, has gotten a couple of good ganks off, and you can't malign him for this one. 2,000 gold difference as Goldenglue leads the way to the bottom side of the map. Misses some minions. It's okay, it happens once in a while. I'll give you a pass. They're sneaky like that.
Yeah,
And of course, walk by the control ward earlier as well.
He'll be able to pick up most of this. You know, is definitely a bit behind the mark you would expect as far as CS does go. You know, there has been kind of a lot of moves towards mid lane, and you know, he has died off a couple times, which is hurting that. But you know, sitting down 115 CS past 15 minutes is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, do you want to give some credit to Jensen, though, as well, for having the highest CS per minute of any mid laner in the LCS, and actually worldwide #2 only to Nahun. Doing pretty well for himself, and Goldenglue suddenly is on the wrong side of this one. There is no way out for members. Press R to secure that kill.
Yeah, all the ultimates come down, and that's where you're maybe kicking yourself for using Flash on that previous play, because it was still down from that previous death where he was all but guaranteed to actually die there. This is one where maybe he could have gotten away. Shernfire actually had to use the Flagging Drag into ult just to close the gap there. So Goldenglue, again, is punished. They are getting kind of catches on him consistently, and he's got to be careful about this because that has really been the only place that TL is finding action. You know, every kill has been on Goldenglue.
Good sidestep. Doublelift uses heal for the move speed, jukes upwards, and that is not what Closer predicted. So good fancy feet there, prevents the kill.
Nicely done. It is interesting to actually take a little check in here on CoreJJ's build. He has gone Swifty Boots. He's also working towards what appears to be perhaps a redemption. And you know, that is a very squishy build for a melee support. Yes, he is going to have Aftershock, and there's a possibility he's going for like Righteous Glory or something. Yeah. He just has that Fairy Charm as kind of a little one-off piece, but this is a squishy build. You know, you generally see more kind of tanky boots, and you generally see rush towards things like Knight's Vow or Stoneplate a lot of times on the melee supports these days. So he's going to have to play it differently, and we'll see if he can kind of make the most of that.
Yeah, it looks like an in-combat move speed build because of that W self-slow, right? Swifty helps you get around that a little bit there, and ooh, this is now an attempt towards impact. Gets the pull back, nice shoot backwards though, and this could be a really good re-engage. Good damage back from Hauntzer. Impact forced to mostly just wave clear. Other Q is going to land. Health bars favoring Team Liquid as Hauntzer tries to wave clear.
Yeah, Impact's got to be a little bit scared though. He knows Closer was up there. He was spotted on ward. That's what prompted the initial retreat. He also knows that a lot of members are missing off the map, so you can kind of intuit that they are doing the rift, and that is why they're actually just going to be going for this trade, taking the dragons themselves. Golden Guardians prioritizing what should get them the additional gold right now, where TL are just kind of starting that slow move towards dragon stacking. And I think it's a smart way to play for both sides. Golden Guardians do want the early advantage. They want to extend their lead, where TL, you know, they're looking for 5v5. They're looking for AoE team fights. And one of the best ways to get that is to actually force your opponents to answer you at an objective. One of the best ways to do that is to be stacking towards dragons, so where your opponents have to answer you. So I think both teams making intelligent choices.
Well, Team Liquid feeling pretty comfortable about them at this point in time, despite the fact they're still down 1,000 gold. They've got those two Drake buffs, and as you mentioned, the eventuality of the Dragon's Soul that is going to force Golden Guardian's hands, and we haven't seen them do anything else but get kills off of Thresh plays.
One thing I will also point out, Kennen is one of the best users of Cloud Soul. The ultimate, where you get the big burst of move speed when you do actually use that ult, plus the flat 10% move speed, makes it so much easier to access backline on Kennen. You don't always need this perfect flank now. There's actually times where he can just straight up run straight at him, gunblade a carry, and ult onto their face. The amount of move speed it does give you can be pretty surprising.
Checking in on individual gold, talking about the items people are completing. You've got a 2,000 gold in the bot lane for one side and a 1,000 gold in the mid lane for the other, is the general way of putting it down. And it means that Jensen is kind of the one to watch for. Of course, we know Impact's going to have value off the ulti as well, but that setup is what I'm looking for.
And one of the concerning things when you're playing double AP solos and your AD is behind is that they can start to get a lot of value out of MR purchases, right? You know, that's mitigated somewhat by this kind of Black Cleaver Warrior Jarvan build, and that's going to be that second source. But, you know, if I'm on Golden Guardians, I'm definitely considering things like the Hex Drinker and some of these types of more defensive itemizations, which I think are going to be very, very important against Galio, against Rumble, and against Impact's camp.
Yep, it's going to look like it's time soon for Golden Guardians to contest Drake. 3 minutes to go. Cloud Drake's honestly pretty good for a ulti-focused team as well. When you're focusing really hard on hitting those buttons back again, well, it turns out 20% off that cooldown. If TL can get the next 2, it's going to feel really good for their team comp, and we'll see if that does come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at that flat percentage, it's such a big deal on some of these long ultimate cooldowns. It's a 3-minute cooldown, 180 seconds right now for CoreJJ on that heroic entrance. So, you know, that is something where you're going to get a ton of value out of it. And as you say, you know, they want to fight around ults. When you have them up more, you're going to have more ability to actually look for plays and to be proactive.
Core feels safe to go for this ward kill, and he's indeed going to knock down Keith's control ward. Money down the drain. Big power spikes, though, are in. We're seeing the build towards what seems to be the redemption, right? It's that lone cloth armor just kind of chilling there, but it's redemption coming through for Core to add more AoE damage. You know, it's true damage on the top, so when everyone else dunks in, you help as well. But the power spikes, I really like them a lot on the Golden Guardian side. You just finished GLP. IE plus Essence Reaver is way better than an unfinished Muramana when it's still halfway to transform. Stone Plate, right, first. Okay, well, there's Redemption, so now it does tie it up, but Stone Plate was going to be better than Redemption.
One of the interesting things about Redemption, as I'm kind of thinking about more some of the logic behind this purchase, is that you are expecting, you know, 4 of the TL members to be heavily stacked and diving, right? So you're getting so many people grouped up where you should be dropping this. You can drop it offensively, as you were kind of alluding to as well, and maybe get some of the damage, but also get a 4-man heal potentially that could be pretty reliable when you have everyone who's going to be funneling towards this Cataclysm and this Galio ult.
Yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. Looking as time moves on, as FBI can wave clear. Double gets a couple of pokes down on the turret, and we're only 85 seconds away from this Cloud Drake spawning. That's, to me, where the first big team fight happens, and the problem is, of course, for Golden Guardians, Team Liquid would love a pretty direct team fight here.
You can see, though, both sides have basically every single summoner available, so, you know, there's not necessarily that easy pick over onto FBI. He has Cleanse, he has Flash. You know, that can make him much more difficult to actually lock down and get a hold on.
Look right there. Gets the slow into Keith and Closer. Wave clear on both sides, and FBI, yeah, goes ahead and walks up. Says, I'll battle you, Doublelift. Decent enough job of that. 45 seconds now. There's basically 2 more wood waves to clear, and then that bottom river is going to light up with action.
Yeah, it's getting right to it. People have got to get ready for that move. Impact's still up on that top side. I'm wondering if he's just going to try to be getting damage down on the turret and actually use his TP to join the fight, because he has not yet made a move down towards that Dragon Pit. And there's not really a ton of time to actually do so yet. You know, TL doesn't really have very much vision in this area. You know, they have one lone ward, but really past this point on the map, they haven't gotten much, right? This is all Golden Guardians here. So it could actually be TL just seeding the Dragon as we see Impact continuing to push forward. He did take down that top lane tier 1.
And we've had Hauntzer just recall to get to the top side now as well. Both teleports available. We'll see if they join. Once again, Core ease backwards and gets out of range for the poke, but now the Cloud Drake is alive. And right now, the river belongs to Golden Guardians. That can easily change, of course. Goldenglue, nice poke out from Doublelift. They got to be careful. The root's going to land on a Closer, and he could be the target. Kicks back, finds the knockup. Bullet time forcing the flash away from Doublelift. bullet time is a meaningful cooldown. The only great team fight ult the Golden Guardians has. Here's the play in, and look at the damage of a Keith forces a flash away. And here comes Impact. Finds a single kill, redemption from the top as well. Poke a little bit out from Golden Guardians, but that is a kill for nothing, and that should mean control for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I definitely think it will, and they still have J4 Galio ultimates, and now FBI has no sums. So if you step forward, you are going to get locked down by this Jarvan Galio combo. So I think you cannot contest this whatsoever without those summoners on FBI. And TL used just enough because they kept those key ults.
Really beautiful stuff right there. Team Liquid grab Drake number 3. They'll trade a top turret for, but that seems just fine for them. Gold still 1,400 apart, but the Drake buffs are adding up to, you know, what essentially amounts to combat stats anyway. You pay gold for cooldown reduction. What's more important here than ulti?
Yeah, it's going to be a really big deal. Checking in a little bit on Doublelift, he is sitting at 52 stacks on that Senna, so closing in on his 3rd range upgrade. Here this is one more time. It was a beautiful start to the fight. Golden Guardians were able to get a kick on Shernfire through Doublelift, but then the re-engage here, utilizing Nimbus Cloak. Flash plus Taunt plus 50 boots. He's actually going so damn fast with the Nimbus speed there, as well as the slow reduction on his 50 boots, but Golden Guardians are actually just rushing down the Baron, and it looks like it's gone.
What a sick play. They sneak it out. Everyone else gets out of the pit as well. During the replay, Golden Guardians sneak a Baron, and suddenly they've got the things they need to push a lead.
Yeah, that is a huge deal here. As Golden Guardians on that recall, on that reset from TL, they just actually ran out on the map, ran straight for the Baron. They're able to grab it and secure themselves a very big advantage. We'll see how much more gold they can actually get with this buff, but looking really good all of a sudden from what had felt like a big TL win.
Yeah, I thought so as well, but yeah, the whole team was topside, of course, because they were taking on the top turret. Team Liquid reset, and a really good call to see that one. I really want to know which player said, hey, we can Baron sneak this, and it was definitely the right call, so beautifully done here. And now a 3,000 gold lead. Now, Team Liquid are on soul point. That really does matter a lot. I would actually put a Dragon Soul as about, I would put it about 2,000 to 3,000 gold worth of overall power. Like, that's kind of how I would sort of shake team-wide power differences. And that means if TL gets that next Drake from a sneak or anything else, I think it ties them up right here. So Golden Guardians, I think, need to press the next 2 minutes of the Baron.
Yeah, I agree. They do want to extend this advantage. I would think it would be worth even more than 2,000 to 3,000 gold. You know, if you're looking across 5 members, even just 10% flat move speed feels like so much to me. You know, as far as the value, especially at the pro level, of being able to avoid some of those skill shots and closing the gap when you are playing a lot of these kind of short-range champions. They do really need to get in there, but Golden Guardians trying to get the most out of this. They've already knocked down the bot lane tier 2. You have Hauntzer solo pushing in that mid lane, and it's going to be up to TL to try to wave clear this one out.
Ulti after the poke from the Q. Jensen chunked so low he can't fight anymore. Maybe an ult over the top. He's not going to commit that one here. Doublelift bringing anyone with him. Not just yet. Closer. Goes for the flash kick. They caught him out. What a beautiful setup. They spot Impact now as well. And this is a big setup now. Maybe Closer with the stopwatch stays alive. Re-engage towards a kill onto CoreJJ. And mid is already pushing. Golden Guardians setting up towards the end game. They're going to knock down this bottom inhibitor and push into the mid as well.
All of a sudden, this could be game-ending damage. Closer catches Doublelift. CoreJJ dies trying to save him. It's going to be at least 2 inhibs, but they don't have a lot of safe wave clear here, and they're going to look for the end.
It's a pretty important ult to miss. Now Impact gets completely slaughtered. Hauntzer in the front line. Stopwatch in as well. And they might pick up another kill over the top. Guardian Angel down for the top side, and that is a dead jungler. But look out for the rest of this half as the respawns are coming pretty soon. 1 second on Doublelift. CoreJJ back as well. They just dodged the ultimate, but the health bar is so low. Golden Guardians should be forced to run away. It's a fast recall, 15 seconds left on Baron. And what a game-opening fight.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just barely enough damage coming through from TL to even hang on. But Golden Guardians got so much more from that Baron than I think anyone was really expecting. It all kind of came off this pick from Closer. Doublelift just got too close to that wall. They did not have vision in that area. You have to expect that someone could be looking for the engage over that wall. I think seeing Thresh gave him a false sense of security. He lost track of the fact that Closer could have been there. Closer punishes him massively, and Golden Guardians get both inhibitor towers, both inhibitors, and almost close out the game. It really was just kind of back off of Jensen here, getting a lot of damage down onto multiple members that kind of force them back because the initial sleep lands on Impact. He goes down very, very quickly, but Jensen getting so much damage out onto Hauntzer, then kind of coming back in, getting a lot of damage across on FBI. barely enough to push them back because they knew with the respawns they could get a kill.
But imagine Jensen didn't ult a minion wave and not kill any minions out of it.
Yeah.
They don't dive that Nexus if Equalizer's up. And if they do, they lose 3 people, right? So that ult needed to not be burned. Jensen did not save a turret, and it would have saved a Nexus turret and 2 kills if he held that cooldown, and that speaks to me as inexperience.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think, you know, in these types of situations in the LCS, every time you see someone die with the potential of ending, everyone on comm starts screaming, clear the wave, right? And I think it's one of those things where maybe they overestimated the damage they could get done with it, but either way, Golden Guardians looking to push in here, looking to close out this game. And all of a sudden, they're 8,000 plus gold ahead here, and they are looking like they are in such a good spot. The Cloud Dragon is up on the map. That's sole point for TL, but good luck leaving your base.
It looks like they're going to go for some damage towards Shernfire, pushing him back away as offensive wards come down to look for who might be over the top. No poke going to land just yet, but top lane wave's getting cleared. Bloodthirster means extra shields here for FBI, who does have Flash Crucial. He can get away from almost anything that TL throws at him. Nice ult. He's going to push back Shernfire. Redemption, though, going to keep that squad alive, but it does mean a few seconds to knock down this turret. That turret will indeed fall. Closer again for the kick flash. He's going to cut out. Guardian's going to go down. This could be a really good fight for TL, just potentially. Core forced away, though. The re-engage was close. They pick up 1 kill, and they're not going to land the sleep just yet. So Team Liquid find that 1 kill. And remember, they are on soul point. Jensen trying to cut away from Hauntzer. Finally, a knockup going to land. There's Respite. That should almost be the kill, but it's not just yet. And here comes Impact, looking to find a kill. They shut down FBI. Doublelift still alive. The play for Keith. He wants to kill Impact. They find 1, they find 2. It's a trade back now as well. And now it's up to Hauntzer to do the damage. He does so indeed. 3 for 2 in the back half of that fight after that first pick. 2v2 now inside the base, pushing in with the minions.
It's going to be triple inhib here, and Doublelift has no summoners. He's still fairly low. If he gets caught by any poke from Goldenglue, he could die. I don't even know if they can deal with the minion wave here.
With Jensen looks pretty decent. Still can't land the poke though for Goldenglue. He's running low on mana now as well. Respawn's coming in 15 seconds. Trying to shepherd the wave in. Ult comes in as well. Can't quite get Doublelift. They flash in, but can't get that one either. There's the hit for Hauntzer, saying goodbye to his ex-teammate. And that will be another turret falling. 5 seconds on CoreJJ. 2v1 pushing in for Jensen. 1 more auto would kill him, but he goes back to the Nexus. The kill comes down, and now it's up to Core. He's gonna find not quite the taunt. The damage still coming in. The minions are there. 2 more shots, and Golden Guardians takes down Team Liquid.
A 30-minute victory here over TL. Golden Guardians picking up a big win. And Team Liquid just not looking on form tonight.
And Team Liquid cannot blame Shernfire. Shern had all the good early ganks, thought he actually had a solid early impact there. The first blood was a heads-up 2-on-2. Keith went above and beyond here in this game, did so much work, won the 2-on-2, had the mid roams for the